We're glad you are with us on this Sunday. There is a push underway in Broward County to make a mayor an elected position that is elected by all the people of the county.
The job of mayor and vice mayor in Broward right now rotates among commissioners. This week, the commission will decide whether to put the issue to voters in November. And as all things in South Florida, there is a debate. Burnadette Norris-Weeks, an attorney in Fort Lauderdale and founder of the Women of Color Empowerment Institute, is against the idea. And Larry Davis, an attorney in Hollywood and a member of Broward Citizens for an elected mayor, obviously is for it.
Good afternoon. Good to have you both here. If I can, let me ask you to make your best arguments for your point of view for and against an elected mayor. And Burnadette, you oppose it. What is wrong with electing a mayor?
Well, this is essentially a measure about power. And the folks who have historically enjoyed power in Broward County are looking for a way, as they see their power base eroding due to diversity and a more diverse Broward, they're looking for a way to try to keep that power. We have a demographically minority county, which means that less than 50% of the population is non-Hispanic white. And the folks, I've sat with Larry Davis on the Charter Review Commission. We had a three-term, or actually a three-year term that we just completed in 2018, where we heard testimony from people all over the county and outside come in and tell us why this was or was not a good idea. And ultimately, the board that was appointed by all of the commissioners decided against this issue and decided that this was not a measure that we wanted to put forth on a ballot to Broward County voters. Now, a small group of people
Burnadette, I beg your pardon, hate to jump in here, but you've sort of made your main point. So, Larry Davis, let me ask you to jump in here. Explain why you think an elected mayor is the best way to go.
Thank you, Mr. Putney. I think it comes down to one word: leadership. Broward County needs leadership, and the leadership comes from accountability. Yeah, and the accountability comes from the people themselves. And we have over 2 million people in Broward County. The 2 million people should be able to vote to elect a mayor. The mayor should not be selected by 5 members of the county commission. And also, Ms. Putney, the leadership comes from a consistent vision. And what we have now is the mayor changes every year. They rotate. And what happens is that the vision of the person that's in charge changes every year from, say, solid waste to, say, transportation. And without the focus and the vision that's necessary, you don't have the leadership that's necessary in Broward County. Burnadette and I have really been having this argument for now over 3 years, both on the charter and now here today in front of your viewers. And the idea that Broward County doesn't need leadership, to me, doesn't make any sense. If you've ever driven in Broward County before the pandemic or tried to ride mass transit in Broward County, you see you can't get anywhere. And that's where leadership will come in. And then as far as the pandemic is concerned, I think this shows where leadership is needed more than anywhere else. In our county,
all right, Mr. Davis, I'm sorry, I'm going to do the same thing I did to Burnadette. I think you've made your main point. Burnadette, and it's time for Glenna to jump in here, but let me just ask you, in Broward County, 2 million people, a lot of people kind of are wondering, looking at the pandemic, the marches after the death of George Floyd, they're asking, where does the buck stop politically? And it stops with Bertha Henry, who is the Broward County administrator. She's not answerable to anybody except the commission.
And let's talk about that, Michael. First of all, Broward County has had leadership. It has a consistent plan that it uses no matter who comes in. That plan includes transportation issues. It includes affordable housing issues. It includes all kinds of issues that they've been focusing on, and every mayor will focus on no matter who that is. The government works very well as it stands currently. In fact, Broward County has been through its very qualified professional leader has been awarded the international award for the best county managed county in the internationally, not even just the nation. So, and that was just 2 years ago. So let me tell you about leadership. We've seen leadership through our county administrator, Bertha Henry. Just a little while ago, when we were dealing with the COVID-19 issues and opening up, she was criticized for, maybe you're doing it not fast enough. But guess what? She worked with experts. She listened to the people who needed to be listened to, and she made her choice without the interference of politicians. If you have somebody who's and let me just say this, in Broward, if you look at the surrounding counties outside of Broward, we've had less death. We've had less coronavirus incidents, and that's because we have somebody at the helm who is administering this county on a day-to-day basis without the interference of politics. She's not someone they can go to, Larry or his group can go to and say, I'm not going to elect you the next time you're up for office or give you money. That is out of play, and that's why this county government works very well. There are less than 5 government forms of an elected mayor in the entire state of Florida, and very few in the entire nation.
Although one of them, Burnadette, is right next door in Miami-Dade County. Larry Davis, the if it ain't broke, don't fix it argument. 20 years ago, Broward voters said no. 20 years on, why do you think that might have changed?
Well, because I don't think the don't fix it, it's not broken, really stands at where we are now. And I want to go back to what Burnadette was talking about the pandemic. In one day in the newspaper, we had 4 of the county commissioners arguing different openings, when and where to open. And that was very confusing to the voters. Bertha Henry, I think Bertha Henry's great. We all love Bertha Henry. She does a great job. She's in drop. She's going to be out in 2022 anyway. So Bertha Henry's really not an issue in this. And then you had the argument with Bertha Henry and the mayor of Fort Lauderdale, Dean Trentalis, about, well, should we open up the beaches? What about, he wanted the gyms opened up. She didn't. What you need is a leader that has the credibility, and the only way to get the credibility is to have the voters vote on it.
Burnadette, will you address that? Because
I think that is ridiculous. That's to say that it's almost saying Bertha Henry doesn't have credibility, and this is someone who is a professional manager. She has a staff of professional managers lined up behind her to, if she were out tomorrow, to take her place, people she's trained. There is a system in place for this professional management structure to continue. And Larry mentioned Miami-Dade County. Let me tell you about Miami-Dade County. If Larry had his way, what we'd be marching into is something like Miami-Dade County, which hasn't worked for Black people in particular in that county. If you look at, for instance, there was an issue that was on that was voted upon by the majority of the county commission that Barbara Jordan brought before the board. That issue had to do with having a system in place or a group in place that would monitor police officers and what they did, their actions. And this was actually vetoed by Miami-Dade County Mayor Jimenez. It was vetoed. And so you would be going down a path of what we see in Miami-Dade County, where we hardly see any Blacks that are in places as they were before, running huge departments. You don't see that at all. You see very few that have, no major responsibility of huge departments like we have seen in the past. We have a system where basically the voices of Black folks in particular has been disenfranchised, and it's even a form, I believe, of voter suppression if you use the analogy that I just gave you with what happened with Commissioner Jordan. And I'll tell you, what we will be going into is this strong mayor will be paying attention to the people who got him elected. And so much money would be poured into this one race
to that,
so much money would be poured into this one race.
Hold on, Bernadette. Let Larry get a word in here.
Larry Davis, 30 seconds.
Thank you, Ms. But here's the problem with the argument that Bernadette is making. In Broward County, we have a African American who got elected as clerk of the court. Bernadette's boss, Brenda Snipes, who's African American, was elected twice. And the second time was 76% of the vote, and she's African American. Barack Obama in both in 08 and 12 carried Broward County with 67% of the vote.
Okay, point made, and Larry Davis, I hate to cut you off. Point made, and we are going to have to hold it there because in television we have a deadline that we need to make, and we thank you both for whetting everyone's appetite as to what's to come in Broward this week.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.